And we're back to Let's Boldly Go. Just seconds after the last episode ends, we are wheeling this brand new, pristine piece of crap plane out onto the runway to theoretically fly over to, Helldean's Hollow. Put the brakes on. I am worried about taking off on this runway because it's not exactly smooth, as you may have noticed at some point, if I showed that at all. Also, it's nighttime now. Normally I would just time accelerate to the morning, but there were a couple contracts with just a few hours left that I wanted to snag. So yeah, we have to fly there. Well, actually, oh, is it actually going to give us a waypoint? That'd be sick. And yeah, what is the... So I need to get to... no, we don't care about the parachute. So you just need to be within, 20 kilometers of Helldean's Hollow. I wonder if we'll get more stuff for being closer. That'd be cool. But yeah, for now, we need to take off. Valentina, are you ready for the maiden voyage of the poorly named K1? That's not what I want to do. How do I actually toggle between these? I don't remember. Whatever. I need to reassign some key commands. But yeah, SIS on, because now Valentina, being a high-level pilot, has this nonsense, which I'll explain once we're in the air. But first we need to activate the engines. Hopefully they won't be too loud. Jet engines can get kind of whiny in this game. And then just turn the brakes off, pick up speed, take off. Oh man, this takes off like a dream. Very low stall speed, that's good. Okay, and pull around at 5 Gs because I don't care about none of that safety, mainly because none of my mods care about G-forces. So yeah, it gives us a nice little waypoint on the radar. And yeah, so what these do is I can have her automatically point prograde or retrograde. Like in atmosphere it's not very useful because it's going to start dropping down slowly, but for orbital stuff it is very handy. And we are starting to get close to the speed of sound, and since we're at such a low altitude, we're gonna get some Mach effects. I got half an hour of fuel, that should be plenty. And I am kind of pushing the throttle so I can cut that back, because we don't really need to go that fast. And if we go too fast, then we're wasting fuel trying to go faster. I think I explained that before, how basically you want to go at your terminal velocity for the most efficiency. Like launching a rocket, if you have way too much thrust, then you're wasting fuel. But if you have too little, then you're spending too much time in the atmosphere. So there's a fine balance that I sometimes care about. In this case, I don't want to, because there's no way this engine is going to push through the sound barrier, and trying to ride near it is just really inefficient. We've got some science from the Highlands. It's always good. Not gonna try an EVA report at 260 meters per second. I wish it would give us a distance to the hollow. Because if you set a target, if you lock on to another craft, you can it'll tell you your relative velocity and distance and everything. But this is Like, it's not a target, it's just a waypoint on the nav ball. But oh well, we don't need to worry about that too much. Time accelerating with planes can sometimes be dangerous, but this one's quite stable actually, so we can do that. Shouldn't take too long to get here, at least at 4 times time acceleration. Gotta be careful doing this. I don't know where the terrain is really, but like because I don't want to gain too much altitude, but at the same time, like, I don't want to hit the ground. And also, as you travel, because the SAS will hold you in a straight line, but as you're going over the planet, it's a sphere, so you'll slowly start pitching up more and more, because it doesn't account for the ground curving away beneath you, which is kind of annoying, but like it makes sense. Like, it's what would happen. Also, I really should plant a flag back at base so that I can lock onto it as a waypoint, because, like, especially at night, I can't really see where the Space Center is. But that's not going to be too big of an issue for this. And we could just recover it over here if we really want, but it'd be cool to land on the runway, because it looks like we are actually going to have plenty of fuel. I noticed this waypoint is like pointing up in the air, which is kind of weird. And I still have no clue how close we are to this place, because I don't think anywhere, like, I don't think it's going to indicate it to me at all. I'm assuming this display is in Kelvin, because that would be kind of hot otherwise. Unless that's the temperature of my aircraft, which actually it could be. You're entering Haldane's Hollow. That's nice of them to tell me that. So yeah, log temperature. Collecting survey data for Haldane's Hollow. I guess I just have to keep this nonsense data, but can I then get rid of the science? Because it's useless to me? Well, that's interesting. I guess somehow they transmit that back even though I don't have antennas on this. But yeah, now we need to turn around and head back home blindly. And just because we do have way more fuel than I was expecting, I am going to go ahead and throttle up all the way. Oh, God. I kind of want to land and plant that flag with a Kerbal back at base, because this is going to be interesting. But no, we accepted this challenge. We should know, or we know what we're getting into. Should be more aggressive with the throttle. Need some water too. Jeez. Because, like, once we get close, we'll be able to see the flickering nonsense of the physics of the buildings. But until then, this is going to be weird. Okay, I think we're headed in sort of the right direction. Still can't see what's underneath us. Oh man, it's just pitch black now. I don't know how this is going to come out in the recording, but we are over the clouds right now also, which is probably bad, so I'm going to slow down and dip underneath the cloud layer. Because somewhere around here are mountains also, so we have to be cautious of that. Okay, since we're diving, we might actually just graze the sound barrier, but it's, what, like 340 meters per second, so we're not actually going to have a chance of breaking it. Unless we go even steeper. Like, if I was coming straight down, we totally would. But I'm actually going to cut the throttle because I don't know how safe this is. And I do believe I see mountains right in front of us. I honestly have no clue where I am right now. But I think where I am is close to where I need to be. Like, if these are the mountains by the base, then I want to head east. So what I'm probably going to do is just find the coastline and follow that, because it'll be easier. But I'm hoping that in post-processing, I can maybe raise the brightness of this video. I don't really know how that works. But it'll be a few days before I have to do this one, so that's probably fine. But what isn't fine is going above the clouds again, and I can't see anything at all. Jesus, bad. Throttle back down. I could have... Okay, I can see a patch of sand that I think is the Space Center. So I'm gonna head that way. Oh, wait, no, it's way over there. I was wrong. Popping 10 G's there. Valentina couldn't be happier. She doesn't get this kind of... you can see that she has the need for speed. Oh man, I finally watched Top Gun a few years ago, and yeah, that line is just so cheesy. But you gotta know, like, when they made the movie, they're like, oh man, this line is gonna be so cool. The kids are gonna be saying it, like, oh man, this guy's such a badass. But yeah, nowadays it's, oh god, that's so cheesy. But okay, so we're getting close. I need to slow down. Gotta decide which direction I want to hit the runway from, and I'm gonna go from the east, which I think is generally recommended. I'm doing it because there's more grass after the runway, so if we don't stop in time, we have more flat area instead of just bouncing off into the ocean and most definitely dying. Very interesting silhouette on this plane. Definitely go with not these winglets in the future. Like, they're much better fins for that sort of a job. We don't have aero brakes yet, which I really wish we did have, because those are handy, and I tend to come in way too fast. And I should be landing this just in time to end the episode. I swear I just started this one, but that's just how, it's just the way it is. Okay, I'm gonna come in with the brakes already on. Some people don't do that. I do that. Because like if you wanted to do it properly, you would get a full contact and then hit the brakes. But, maybe should have put parachutes on this. I mean, like if we screw up above the runway, parachutes wouldn't help anyway, but it's always a nice thought. Alright, cut the throttle. Try and get lined up. If I recall correctly, this has a very nice slow stall speed. I should have put lights on this too, god. I don't actually know if we have any yet, but lights are good for landings. Okay. Just gotta come in low and slow. Should be good. I was wrong. Because normally I count on seeing the shadow to gauge how high above the runway I am. But obviously since it's nighttime we don't have a shadow. But all we lost is the engine. That's okay. As long as nobody dies and we don't start losing money because of destroying all of our parts. Because you'll notice we have more money than we launched with, so it's a success. Huh. So we need to hit... Oh, I know who that's a reference to. So you have to do EVA reports at various locations. That could be an interesting contract if we get a better plane. And these ones are even closer to where we are. We could totally do that. Okay, so there's two separate locations right there, and a sector here. I kind of want to do that contract. I don't, like, maybe not necessarily record it. No, that'd be an interesting one, because we'd have to land in multiple places. So, yeah, I think next episode we'll do that. I think whatever contract I was thinking about grabbing probably expired. I don't even remember what it was. Oh. Well, that's interesting. This one is... okay. So there are a few high prestige contracts that will, I guess, guide you through the system, and those don't have expiration dates. Like our early, like, get off the ground, that kind of contract, those are permanent, so those should stick around, while these are just, like, these are just gonna happen. So I do want the moon flyby one, but we wouldn't really have time to do that. How much does it cost to upgrade this? If I do this, then I can have way more contracts. Okay. Let's invest in a new mission center, so now I can have 7 contracts and snag up all of these. Although, I think when we accept these, we don't have the same time limit. Like, if I take this with 5 minutes left, they're gonna be like, okay, you got 5 minutes to go to the moon. Guess we'll find out. Okay, so this one does not have a time limit. I think some of them do actually say when they have a time limit. Okay, like this, we have, what is that, like 2 Kerbin years to get? Well, that's, okay, that's fine. We want that one, we want satellite orbital survey of the moon, I can do that. Except it's a bunch of stuff, I don't know if I want to do that. Geosynchronous orbit, we can do that. And I'm gonna want to do that. Grab that. Don't really care for these touristy ones, but I think they can pay pretty well. Like when I'm gonna do these is if once I develop like a nice stable passenger jet or something, then yeah, we can do that. I think they tend to be, yeah, they want suborbital flights, which I think means you have to actually exit the atmosphere. So you need a passenger spaceplane for those, which I'm not at all ready to try and develop. This is a very specific orbit. I remember seeing stuff about these, but I don't remember how... Like, I don't remember how specific, or like how close you have to get to these. Huh. Yeah, I don't know if I want to try this quite yet. That'll require significant control of an orbit, and we haven't even put anything in orbit yet. Hopefully none of these other ones... Oh, jeez, okay. So this one could be a challenge, but we have 4 years to do it. Okay, yeah, Kerbin years are longer, I forgot about that. So they're like 400-something days is 1 year. But yeah, we've got all sorts of time to bang these out. But first, yeah, we have to test this parachute. See if we can use the parachute coming back from... Probably with polar launch, I would do these together. But I don't know. I'll probably work on ship concepts between episodes, but for now, we need to do this one. So we have to land in 2 places. For EV Air Force. Okay, we can do that. Just need to make a better plane. And actually, spend some of the science that I totally forgot to spend on things. Because we can get new aerodynamic parts, which if we're doing plane stuff now, we should do. Also, we will get a fairing. 2 fairings. Fairings are good. We want those. Especially for launching probes. I'll explain them more once we get to them. I want landing legs, and we can worry about the rest later. Okay, so that is it for this episode of Let's Boldly Go. Thanks for watching, and I will see you Monday, I guess.